Hi everybody, my name is Gordon and today I wanted to share with you a quick story about the journey how we discovered a new format for art on Bitcoin, essentially merging ordinals and runes. I'll need to show like this just to change slides. So basically, just a bit for context, I've been living a double life for a very long time. One is being very deep into blockchain since the early days. I basically heard about Bitcoin in 2011 and then was running a mining operation, while my other life was essentially doing fine art. And slowly through time, I started to realize that these two worlds could actually be merged. So every year I would create a certain art series that kind of documents that moment in time or expresses a certain point. So it's kind of like these different timestamps that mark the evolution of art with algorithms or art on chain in different ways. So having this context, I was immediately drawn to Bitcoin when Ordinals came out, and I started to think about what are the main two pillars in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And I realized we have currently Ordinals like NFTs and then runes, which are essentially similar to ERC20 tokens on Ethereum. So the fungible and non-fungible pillars. So very simply, what is a rune token? Rune token is any fungible token on Bitcoin, and this is essentially it. Like it's really, really simple. Like you have a name, you have a number, and then apart from that, you can choose a supply, like does it have 3 runes, 100 runes, 1,000 runes, and apart from that, you can also define the minting rules. Meaning, does all of the supply go to your wallet or to somebody else's, or is it free to mint, and so on. So essentially, as soon as Runes launched, I was super excited about it. I started to think about it and to see it from the lens of an artist, like how could a rune token maybe be an artwork? And I thought to myself, okay, we have the name, it has to really signify that it's an artwork, and we have the supply, and we have the number. So I was thinking, how can I conceptually align all of these different components? So I got this idea to have a mission impossible, which is to try and etch the rune number 10,000 to essentially secure this for this conceptual art token called Art as a Ticker. So essentially what happened is, as I was waiting to deploy it at the right moment, I did not sleep for 24 hours. I was waiting to kind of time it correctly. And then at one point, I sent a transaction. I went to brush my teeth. And as I was waiting, I realized, damn, so many other people are doing this. And like, it's basically impossible for me to get this. However, when I arrived back, I refreshed the computer. And I realized that Art as a Ticker actually secured the rune number 10K, which was basically mathematically almost impossible. It was like winning the lottery. And even though I did not sleep for 24 hours at that point, I got this rush of adrenaline, just realizing what happened. And the thing is, at this moment, it started going viral. So it was the quickest mint out with zero marketing on the Runes protocol at the time. So 21 million tokens were minted out just in a single evening. And this was completely word of mouth. So it started trading, and in this sense, the artwork was kind of a success because the artwork was this huge performance, which is essentially conceptual token that deals with value, with network effects, with financialization of art on chain. However, even though it was successful in that sense, an even more important thing that it gave me was a community of people. And have in mind, this was like only maybe 4 days after Runes protocol launched. So with this group of people, I started to interact with and actually do a lot of experiments because they were interested in this trifecta of ordinals, runes, and just art. So together, we collectively realized that we could actually merge ordinals and runes into a new format, which we kind of call now rune artworks. In the early days, we called it runescriptions. So basically, what this is we realized that there's a field in the token protocol where you can put a logo to a token. And we realized that instead of just having a logo of a token, we can actually associate these tokens with any artwork that's on Bitcoin or create a new inscription that would forever have these tokens linked to it. So technically, immediately being an artist, I thought like, damn, this can be a new way for art distribution on Bitcoin. So what this means is you have a single unique artwork, an ordinal in this case, that has linked, for example, 100 rune tokens. And this is a new format of kind of decentralizing participation in art on Bitcoin. So this is basically how it works. So each artwork is fully stored on chain, on Bitcoin. Linked to it, you have a ticker that has a supply of, let's say, 100 tokens. Once these tokens are deployed, we call them ArtNodes because it's kind of decentralizing participation. Once it's deployed, the actual artwork gets burnt. This means it's still visible on chain, but it's just like frozen forever. It can never be collected, tradable. It's just forever going to be living on Bitcoin. But the Rune tokens associated are actually freely in circulation, and they are the collectible components. So the way we see it, and I spoke with many artists, my colleagues with this, is that for art on chain, we were very limited to only two formats. You either put things in a bucket called one-of-ones or in a bucket called editions. Now the problem is, if you work on an artwork for like, let's say, a whole year, you don't necessarily want to put it in bucket number one because only one person can actually like be an owner of it, and maybe that's not really what you want to do. Also, you might not put in the bucket number two, which is editions, because you have to copy-paste your artwork. So it was a bit of a challenge, like how do we create something that's separate from those two traditional ones? And that's essentially what RuneArt is. So it allows an artwork to stay a single, unique thing, but have a network of people who can, together participate in a single piece, while the piece remains a single thing. So that is essentially what gave birth to this new kind of a proof of concept collection called Timestamps, which was essentially a collaboration with 6 renowned artists on thinking, how can we really create a collection that uses Bitcoin as a medium on a deeper level, and then also deals with one of the core concepts, which is time. Because using Bitcoin as a medium, what we have to really always remember is that one of the core things is time. Because even Satoshi Nakamoto used to call blockchains time chains. And I think this is very poetic, because at the core of any blockchain, we have this idea of decentralized timestamping. So basically, time creates order in any blockchain. Because without time, there's no order, therefore there's no transaction history, therefore there's no block, therefore there's no Bitcoin or blockchain. So at the essence of this medium is actually time. So we wanted to really explore through the lenses of 6 different artists, what could we do with this medium? Like, how could we express some of these concepts? How can we creatively also utilize this new format of merging these core pillars? So this is the final selection of the timestamp artists, which is a very diverse group of people from their background and also from their styles. So we have, next slide. So we have Andrea Ciampo, who's one of the very, very famous 3D artists who worked on like some of the biggest projects in the world. We have Oria Harvey, who's a net art pioneer from the 90s, one of the first artists to use like the internet as a medium. We have Too Much Lag, who's an amazing also crypto native artist, Burst likewise. Then we have myself, who I'm kind of mixing these two worlds, and then we have Ivona Tao, who's an AI artist. Maybe next, yeah. So that essentially is the lineup of the artists who are kind of using this format. And then this is the structure of the collection. So basically, each artist will create 10 unique one-of-one artworks, and then each artwork will be decentralized through these Rune tokens, through essentially these ArtNodes. So it's also about like thinking, how can we use the Runes protocol for something different than just meme coins? How can we have like maybe deeper or diverse applications of this protocol that maybe have to deal with participation or just novel ways of collecting cultural artifacts? So that's essentially what the collection is initiating and pioneering and hoping to kind of spark on a lot of these dialogues. So this is a quick just review of the website that we've created currently. So this is, you come to the landing page, you can see all of the artists, then you can press on one of the artists, then you can kind of go through all of their 10 pieces, and then each piece is associated with a Rune token. So let's say, for example, you come here and you really say, okay, I really like Andrea's artwork #1. So you would click it, and then you have a new page that opens up where you can mint one of these rune tokens that are forever linked and associated with this artwork. So, and this is forever going to be on blockchain. So underneath, you can also see kind of a pie chart of who are your co-participants, who are other people that are essentially being stewards of this artwork. So this is a new way of art stewardship on-chain, and for a way of multiple people to be part of a single story. So that is essentially what we've been working on for the past 8 months. And I'm actually happy to announce that this evening we will do an airdrop of Art is the Ticker to some of the biggest art communities on Bitcoin, like Sense and a couple of others, even Harto's collectors and a few other artists. So as a way to kind of share this message of using art and runes together. So that's something that's going to happen tonight. And then also, for my pieces, I'm actually building a 3D pyramid that actually grows every time there's a new block added to Bitcoin's blockchain. So it's actually using recursion and on-chain 3JS libraries to generate this structure. And I'm happy to kind of present this new format and just kind of initiate a lot of dialogues with other creators and just see how some of these protocols can be used in different ways for creativity. So if you have any other thoughts, I also have a link here to a free course about using Bitcoin as a medium. If you want to learn about, parent-child provenance, rare sats, recursion, all of these things. So it's, a free course you can watch. And this is a way to maybe follow the project if somebody's interested. So, yeah, thank you all for coming. Does anybody have any questions, maybe?
I'm glad you brought this up because eventually that real estate will be gone. It gets bought up and stuff like that. So
you're talking about the tickers, right?
Yeah. Not the tickers itself, but like I'm talking about the sats. When you're mining, when you're inscribing runes or minting runes, like when you're putting art on it, like no one could put art back onto that particular real estate. Exactly. So I'm just bullish on this. First of all, that you took it a step further. I want to share this with him. But did I have a question? Yeah, like what do you think about that, first of all? Does that make sense to you? Or did I lose you?
No, totally. I mean, sats are, people talk about rare sats, but every sat is a rare sat at the end of the day, It either is associated to a significant event or it isn't, or it has like very interesting, there's even like sats that have sat names. So I think that's completely a really crucial, and well, not crucial, but one of the key components of using Bitcoin as a medium. And actually, this collection, timestamps, I think it's one of the collection that in a most comprehensive way explores what it means to create art using Bitcoin now, because each artist is using these different approaches from their own lens. So for example, Ivona, she picked 10 different dates in the last 10 years, and I helped her source the actual sats from those dates. So the artworks are conceptually aligned with the canvas that they're being forever inscribed on. And I think these types of thoughtful linkage between the actual canvas where you put your artwork and the artwork is something very beautiful that Bitcoin can offer and can actually enhance the concept of your piece.
Yeah, because we were literally talking about last night at dinner, like runes are dead, so to speak. And I'm like, well, you can inscribe art on runes, not just having it as a ticker for tradability, but like there's artwork. He goes, well, isn't that ordinals? And I said, well, not if it's purposeful. I'm not sure, but what do you think about that?
So ordinals are non-fungible, and that's what they are. They're like unique asset
sure.
artwork. But runes, they're fungible tokens. So I think it's a really beautiful merging of the two. If you can have a single unique thing, and then through the rune tokens, you can create many ways to give access to, multiple people to that same unique thing. And then maybe it can in future be even like curated events and many other things. Like honestly, I even am super bullish on maybe recursive rune endpoints coming up. So for example, imagine if you own 1,000 Art is the Ticker in your wallet, and you own, let's say, an inscription that I created. That inscription that you have in your wallet can change based on how many artists the ticker runes you have. So it's almost like runes could be used as this, magical potion that can affect other, ordinals that you have in your wallet. So I think we're just at the beginning of a lot of these creative use cases, and I really just want to highlight once again that this is way larger than just memes, and that we have a lot of experimentation currently happening, and that runes, I think personally, are far from dead.
Yeah, sure. Dave, Trevor, and Chris would like a whitelist as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Woo! Yeah.
I have a real quick question though.
Yeah.
You said this is not fractionalization, but what is the difference?
So
functionally?
that's a great question. So for example, fractionalization, one of the main things is that you can usually unfractionalize the thing you fractionalized. So usually what happens is on Ethereum, you have these things called vaults that have a buyout price. So let's say you buy an NFT, like a CryptoPunk, you put it in a vault, and you say if somebody offers 100 Ethereum for this, we as holders of this vault, we will sell that punk automatically and we will split the proceeds. That cannot happen here because the actual artwork is burnt. It's forever gone. And so that's one thing. Another really important thing is the actual intention behind the pieces. Because this is actually, like the Rune tokens are not fractions, they're actually part of the artwork. Because this is a novel format for networked art. And I believe that networked art is very aligned with the ecosystem that we live in currently, especially in the digital realm. So, it just makes sense if you have a medium that is not limited by losing quality when you copy-paste it. Like you can experience a digital original artwork on thousands of devices simultaneously, which is very medium-specific to digital art. So in that sense, it kind of makes sense also to have a way to have an official version of allowing multiple people to be a part of the story of that artwork, to be publicly associated with that artwork in a way, because it shouldn't be limited to just one person or editions. So those are kind of some of the main differences. So intention, and then also some of the more technical parts. And also, usually what happens with fractional ownership is an asset grows in value and then it gets fractionalized. But here, these artworks are born and created with this intention. Like literally in the transaction of putting this artwork on chain, we're issuing the tokens. So yeah, that's kind of linked. It's like really, really, really early. So I think a lot of these things will get defined as we go, and we just kind of want to, as a group of artists, to collectively come and just say, okay, this is a format that we think has a lot of potential, and just start those dialogues, and then hopefully inspire many creators after us to, continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Amazing. Well, thank you all. And yeah, looking forward to talk with you.